Still room for improvement. I think our performance against Nashville offensively was better, also in numbers, so not just my subjective opinion. Objectively, it was better. Um, but Minnesota was better defensively on the day than Nashville. Doesn't have anything to do with their projection for the season, but just on that day. So, yeah, we were happy with the performance, not giving up much at all. Um, Keeping a clean sheet and trying to create chances and trying to score goals. That's what LAFC should always look like. So it looked like LAFC plays at home. I definitely agree with you there, but there's certainly room for improvement.
For lack of a better word, the supporting cast of guys that can help fill some spots like Eric did with Edward out. Eddie as well, maybe Maxime down the road. But those kind of guys, how happy are you with how they have been able to jump in and fill some of those minutes?
Yeah, particularly with Eric and Eddie. Eric in a comfortable position that he knows, but Eddie in a new position. I think he's played there once for us, but in the past with Bob as the coach, and getting to know Eddie and seeing his qualities and attributes, it fits that position also well. And they did exactly what we needed and expected of them, and so top marks for them to, as far as tactical discipline goes and sticking to the game plan. They implemented in their own way very well, and was very happy with their performances.
This streak without conceding a goal, is that something that it's like you hang with these guys and say, look, you put in the work and now we have been close to unbreakable on that side of the ball?
No, I wouldn't really talk about it. I think I do spend time speaking about why it's happening, and focus on those behaviors rather than the result. You can always get scored on. A set piece can slip in. The referee can call a penalty. There are some things that are not in our control. What is in control is our behavior in that end of the field, and that has been very good.
Matty Bogusz is how high is that his ceiling? And we talk about maybe there's a chance to make the national team for Poland at some point, but just to see what he's been able to do with the ball stopped, with the goal he scored this weekend as a collaborative approach from the team.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun watching him. He has really special moments, and he has moments where you scratch your head a little bit, and so it's great to see a young attacker really gelling with the others, figuring out his system, and being prolific. But again, at the same time, we are trying to work on his deficiencies and to make him into a very complete player. And I think then the logical step would for him to then play for his nation, and I think he deserves it at some point. And obviously the coach there will decide when that is. But we still have he still has some growing room here, and we'll do our best to give him what he needs to be able to do that.
Would you say that how he's been able to play with other guys is probably higher on the list of things that he's improved on? How he's been able to?
Yeah, I think adapting to a new position,
yeah.
And he's done it really well for us, and I think we are just as dangerous, but interpreting that role a little differently.
A couple of weeks between games after this, what do you want to see from the team after this game to obviously recharge the batteries a little bit and be ready for the summer?
Yeah, I think just recovery is the most important thing. The way we're playing is, for this stage of the season, pretty good at the moment. We've improved on the areas we were poor early on, especially away from home. Those are getting better. And so I think solidifying that and then now adding in some recovery should put us in a good spot approaching the hot summer months.
The way you're playing, would you almost want to say, hey, let's keep it going? Would it be good to have a game, or is this a nice time, or you just take it?
No, it's perfect time to take a break.
Okay.
For us, we need to push obviously for another day and a half to maximize the amount of points we can get for this little stint, and then sit back, relax, take a breather, and restart. But we are a thin roster, and we've relied heavily on predominantly the same group for most of the minutes all year, so they need a break.
Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got a streak like this going of not conceding, is there like a compounding effect within the group? There's the longer it goes, the more belief, and not belief, you didn't like that word when I used it last time, but is there sort of a feeling in the group of, this train is rolling, just keep it rolling? How would you say to maintain some good?
Yeah, something we openly talk about. I think when you're in a moment as a group and goals are coming and you're not conceding and results are going your way, Those moments come and go in professional sports, and you need to maximize those moments. So prolong the good ones and minimize the bad ones. Um, there are stretches where you have to play absolutely perfectly to get a positive result. And every little counterattack, every little bounce, every call goes against you. And we obviously are in a different moment now, so it's really important to try to prolong that. And I think I would agree with you. The players gain confidence in each game that goes your way, but you actively have to work on it in the training pitch and talk about it in the video room to be able to prolong it, to understand why we're in that moment and what little things we need to continue doing to maintain this momentum.
For you, the fact that you guys have been able to do it but considering that you've had different formations and different players coming in, what does that say about sort of the overall quality, despite some of the lack of roster depth that you talked about, the quality of the guys you have and the reliability that you have?
Yeah, I guess I would describe it as the intelligence of the players, the tactical discipline, and positional integrity that we've really been talking about all season. Those are principles and behaviors that we try to coach at LAFC, and not so much think in formations. Play the same way. Formations are purely just starting positions, but what happens when the ball is moving is completely different, and the players have been amazing, and I always thank them for that, for having an open mind for the way we coach them here and the way we want to approach things, and to try to implement our style in other teams as much and as long as possible in each 90 minutes. And so, that to me is clearly outweighs the formational side of it.
From the outside looking in, layman may feel like things are working, you keep what's working, you don't change, deviate from that. But again, like you've had different lineups, different groups. How does that help you towards the end of the year? Adaptability, ways you can approach opponents, things like that.
Yeah, we think of it as sort of a toolbox. If you can add more tools to your toolbox, the better the deck will be in the end in your backyard or whatever you're building. And there are many great opponents in this league, and there are different ways to play the game, and teams are successful in many different ways. And so I think some teams have stronger wingbacks. Some strengths of other teams are the front line. Sometimes it's the midfield. Sometimes it's the back. And I think being able to attack teams to where they are vulnerable and to expose them where they're vulnerable, but also be careful of their strengths, is a great tool to have. And that's how we tweak things a little bit, just in order to expose weaknesses and maximize our strengths.
And how do you view the test that Dallas poses for you?
It's a team who has, obviously results-wise, has not gone their way, but it's also a very dangerous team. They can score goals at any time, good in transition, set pieces. Their possession has been decreased from last year, but makes them more vertical and a little faster in their attacks, a little more explosive, have a real target and finisher in Musa. So there are dangers there, but as a group, they are not oozing with confidence either. So there's a chance for us obviously to go up maybe early, even late. I think then the cards will certainly be in our hands, but we certainly want to take the lead in this game and be on our front foot.
Last one for me. I asked this of Eddie as well. There's a lot happening in the world. There's always a lot happening in the world, but it seems like more than a particular at this particular moment. Is that stuff completely blocked out once the staff, the people in this building, the players walk in these doors? Or how do you expect people to handle what's happening in the world in a team environment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a complete news junkie, so it is very busy, and the world is maybe at times a bit fragile. What we experience, and that's the beauty of, I think, professional sports, and more particularly LAFC. This is an oasis. We don't really talk about anything. We focus on what we do well and enjoy each other's company once we're here.
Is that unique to other experiences you've had around the world? Would you say that that's different?
I don't want to generalize.
Your experience?
I don't know. In my experiences, it's been a little bit of both.
Just depends on the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Good question.
Yeah, I would expect it to come up. Oh, sorry. I'll turn that off first.
Oh, we're still going. We got one more question.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Michael, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. I wanted to ask you, Steve, about Eddie Segura. There's a moment in the Minnesota match when he came out and look, you're not one to express much emotion during a match, but as a player who experienced your own knee challenges during your career, you seem to be celebrating with him almost. And I wonder if you could describe that moment when Eddie came off against Minnesota.
Yeah, well, we approached Eddie obviously a couple of days prior to the match and told him about our idea, and in full confidence that he has the ability to do it. He had some question marks, not in his ability, but maybe in the timing and what does the role exactly entail for him. And he did it. He was fantastic. He did exactly what we asked him to do, and he understood it, and it's exactly what we expected of Eddie too. So I think it was just that, really, just congratulating him and enjoying the good performance, because he's a very smart player, obviously coming back for some pretty serious knee injuries, and it's great to see him on the pitch for us regularly, and for him to play in different roles, even better for him. And obviously it opens his arsenal to prolong his career. He can play in multiple positions, and to be versatile means you're also attractive to other clubs, and obviously to LAFC for hopefully a long time.
One more.
Last question, if I may. Regarding Eric, look, like Eddie, he's not playing just U.S. Open Cup minutes anymore. He's, started a match against the team at the top of the table, and someone described him to me the other day as your club's Phil Foden, your Marcus Rashford, in terms of someone who's been with the club since he was a child. And how does that impact the club in terms of strengthening its academy, strengthening the culture, to watch a young man literally grow up within the walls of the club?
It's important. I'd like to think of myself as a loyal person, professionally and privately. But I think more important professionally, it's really important to have homegrowns here, and somebody like Eric who truly cares about LAFC. That's all he knows, and that's all he cares about and all he wants right now. And hopefully we're the only club he'll ever need. And it's important to have the connection also with the community and the fans. I played at one club my entire career, and to be able to build those relationships and sort of as a caretaker for moving forward. Clubs have a lot of players come and go, but the feeling and the passion for the city and the club, the colors and the fans, that always needs to remain and needs to be taken care of. And Eric is sort of a caretaker for that. Maybe not yet at that age, but hopefully he will be one day, and it's important to pass that on.
Just follow up with Timothy as he heads off to the U.S. team. Perhaps his best chance to stick around for the Copa is to play other positions in the midfield. Do you think that's something he's ready to go not just as an 8, but maybe as a 10 or somewhere else in that midfield?
Unfortunately, Timmy is well equipped to play many positions, and
That was just ridiculous.
and he's a smart player. Has figured out our league in LAFC, and we've asked different things of him different times. Same position, but different roles in each games, and he's done very well. And so I'm sure he'll adapt to the U.S. team in no time. And I think they liked what they saw in January. That was the feedback, and I anticipate him being gone for a while, which hurts. But obviously, I'm ecstatic for Timmy and the U.S. team.
Just when you say he's figured out MLS, just any league in particular, when a guy comes to a new league, that's got to be daunting. But what you've seen with Timothy is that he's come to a new league, it's clicked, and being a smart player, and that is just obviously very high praise, because that's hard to do, right?
It is difficult. What makes it easier if you have the physical attributes also to go along with it, and that is important in this league. So Timmy is a good athlete, he's a good footballer, and he's intelligent and can adapt and play in a way we also need him to. He is one of the few players that I've seen in our league who can play possession-based style, but also in transition is quite effective. And so he's a very well-rounded midfielder, which complements our other players extremely well.